Hey, I am Jeremy Tank, and if you are watching this, then I am your brand guy. I'm here to answer your questions about branding, about starting a business, building a brand, trying to tell people who you are, excuse me, trying to choose the right words and pictures to share who you are, what you believe, and why you are doing what you do with the world. I am here sitting in my car actually today. I am just outside the mall. I went and picked up a couple of brand new books today, a couple of books that were recommended to me, and I will just go ahead and share it here. Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. I keep reading some good stuff about that, so I wanted to give that a read. And then The Body Keeps Score. I found both of these in the Amazon store in the mall, and it's like, okay, I didn't know Amazon needed a physical store. I thought they were already a mega conglomerate all over the place. You guys don't need to see the airbag sign. So today I actually want to play a couple of little games with you to kind of, this is a mindset thing. This is a starting out, trying to answer your why thing, trying to get in the right position thing, trying to move stuff forward for yourself thing. So the first part of this game is really about beliefs, and beliefs are tricky. And beliefs are tricky because before we're born until about the age of 7, we remain in a brainwave state that is exceptionally receptive. And it's called a Theta Brainwave. And it's a kind of slow and steady rhythm in the brain. And you today will get in this brainwave state just about before you fall asleep and just after you wake up. There's about 5 minutes that your brain stays in this highly receptive state. And if you listen to Wayne Dyer or read Wayne Dyer, if you participate in any of these things where they're telling you to visualize and repeat a mantra, things like that, they will usually tell you just before you go to bed and just when you wake up, read this mantra, look at the vision board, think the positive thoughts, do things like that. And the reason for that is that your brain is exceptionally receptive when it is within this theta frequency. And it's very close to the point that your brain gets during hypnosis. That's one of the reasons hypnosis is so powerful. It bypasses the conscious brain, which is the brain activating in a beta brainwave. It's much faster. There's also high beta where it's even faster. When you start to get stressed, your brain goes into a high beta. As you slow down and relax, it goes into lower beta, and then it goes into an alpha state, which is sort of just general ease through the day, not worrying too much. And then there's theta, which is highly creative, which is highly receptive, which is very close to hypnosis. So right before and after, before you go to bed and just after you wake up is about this state. And the reason I was going there was because beliefs. So before the age of 7, your brain is sitting in this state that is in a theta state, which means that it is taking in information from everything and forming beliefs. It forms a little contrast. It notices something. It creates a contrast in the brain. Is it this or is it that? And then it makes a decision and essentially programs a tiny belief somewhere in your body energetically. In your brain, it stores these directions as guidelines for how you live your life. Now, that's why beliefs are a little bit tricky, because you don't know all of the beliefs that are stored back here in this the polyvagal system, the Polyvigle Theory kind of states that, trauma, as we're reacting to trauma, as we're being trained, and this is definitely as children, it activates different centers of the dorsal. Let's see, the dorsal vagal nerve and the ventral vagal nerve. These are the two sides of the vagal nerve that end up, the ventral vagal nerve is in the front. It goes up to the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that is logical thinking, that takes in sights and sounds and thoughts and connects it with what it's feeling inside. And as you start to get excited, as you start to have a fight or flight response, that closes down. And the dorsal vagal nerve is the one in the back of the head that when you start to get completely overwhelmed or your fear factor is too much, that's like a slamming on the emergency brake, and that's like a faint response, okay? Fight, flight, faint. Fawning response is when the ventral vagal nerve is trying to combat the fight or flight response in relationship with the prefrontal cortex, and is actually using a fawn response or a communal response, a begging response, to create the feeling of relationship and common community to shut down whatever is causing that fight or flight. So those, just a little background of fight or flight and polyvagal theory there. But your body builds the beliefs about all of these things, about all the different sensory things around you, from a pure sensory point even before you're born, all the way through about 7, and then it starts to slowly get out of this theta wave into an alpha and then into beta as you really start school and start all of that stuff. But you don't absorb information the same way. It is not automatic. It is not easier. It is more repetition based, and that's why school and education in general is very much repetition based, hardline it in until it finally gets to be so automatic that it goes deeper into the brain. And what I want you to do for the first part of this game is really just kind of think about the beliefs that are obvious to you. And I want you to write, I don't know, any of your beliefs. Honestly, when I did this for myself, I sat down with a couple of glasses of wine because I needed to just relax into it. I'm not going to recommend wine for you because I've learned since how bad alcohol can be. One glass of wine here and there, who cares? But I definitely recommend sitting down, creating a quiet space for yourself, maybe lighting some incense. If you're into sage, light some sage and kind of clear out the space. If you want to meditate, great. If you want to throw on some chants or something in the background to kind of get you into the zone, because what you want to think about and start writing down is a list that starts with I believe. And you want to write a bunch of statements. I believe blank. And if you want to focus this a little bit more, focus it around your career, focus it around your business that you are running right now, focus it around your relationship. This is a great opportunity to really do a deep dive into any of these areas that are giving you trouble, that are giving you pause, how do you know if you're feeling trouble or pause? Okay. If you feel a conflict inside, if something doesn't feel quite right, if you keep noticing something and commenting on the negative aspect of it in your life, then you are having a reaction against something that inside is telling you should be something else, and there is a conflict on the outside, and it's that contrast of inside to outside that creates a feeling. It could be in your gut, it could be in your chest, it could be a headache that you get. You kind of need to tune into your body just a little bit to learn what these things do to you physically, so that you can become more aware of the decisions you're making based on a belief internally. Now, the reason we're trying to get to these beliefs is because some of them may be right, some of them may not be right. And that's the sailboat part of this game, because I want you to create a list. So let's think about this. A list of like 10 I believe about your life in general, 10 I believe statements about relationships for you. I would love to, if you did 10 I believe statements about life, career, relationships, community, family. What are all the important areas to you? Spirituality? Absolutely. You should have some I believe statements about spirituality. It's really just about capturing some of what you think. And the thing is that there are thousands, if not more of these, tens of thousands that have built up over your lifetime. And it kind of depends on how old you are, but it really doesn't, because a lot of these beliefs are built between birth and 7, okay? And they are deeply ingrained, and they are deeply built on the experiences and the communication and the support that you had growing up. And so once you've got a good list of these things, and it should definitely be capturing lots of different areas of your life. It should definitely be expressing who you are and how you feel. And if you want to throw in optimistic ones, like your belief has changed from the past until now, absolutely write it down. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you see something that doesn't make you feel good that you've written down, then you have a choice. You always have a choice. You can then look at that and choose to leave it as it is, or you can look at that and choose to reframe it in a more positive light for your life. So those are the sort of things you can look at and do with these. If you want to take the next step, you don't have to for this game, but if you want to take the next step and it sort of helps you understand you better, and when you're sharing the story of yourself, or you're sharing the story of why you do what you do, then understanding yourself is key to building the life you want to, right? The more you can program your brain and understand your brain and the beliefs that it is running on, because these beliefs, they're basically like primal programming in your brain. And the primal programming goes beyond the neocortex, it goes beyond the midbrain, and it kind of goes right back to the limbic brain and right back to the polyvagal, the fight or flight, the autonomic nervous system. All of these things are tied in together. And the more science, in fact, that's kind of what this book is all about, is how much the beliefs that you gained affect your physical state, affect the cells in your body, affect everything about you. And when you start to rewire some of these from an energetic standpoint, and people talk about frequency all the time, when you boil anything down to atoms and molecules, we're talking about just figments of energy vibrating at super high frequencies or super low frequencies or any kind of frequencies. Is the combination of that makes whatever a thing is what it is. Well, all of this, from that atomic level up to the person that we are, affects all of this. And that makes sense, right? Everything you are affects everything that you are. You are not separate from nature. People are not separate from nature. We tend to look out at society and go, I'm a person and I'm a human and I am not nature. The prime examples of storytelling are often man against man and man against nature and man against himself. But the fact is, you are nature. And the more that you can kind of recognize that you are nature, you are part of everything, you are part of this cycle, you are part of the energy of the planet, you are part of everything that you are doing. And then when you embrace that, you say, okay, I am energy, I am made up of atoms, which are mostly empty space. Then you can enjoy that, right? That is just freaky. It's weird. I am mostly empty space. So on some level, I am a human. And on some level, I am mostly water. And below that, I am mostly space. It's so weird when you think about it. But also, then we start to diagnose that and say, okay, well, I hear that I am a conglomeration of all of these things. And that means that the programming within my brain is affecting all of these things. So we want to change some of the programming. And the way that we do that is we take these I believe statements, and you can do this a couple ways. You can rank them and say, okay, what's most important to me? What is least important to me? But frankly, your brain is going to act on its own accord anyway. This is the subconscious brain. It doesn't really care what's important to your conscious brain. It's just going to make decisions on its own. It makes its own prioritizations. And a lot of that is based on oh boy, it goes back beyond Neanderthal or Cro-Magnon. I mean, this is like lizard programming in the brain, survival, reproduction, anything that brings you joy, anything that brings you energy and moving forward, that is more likely to be prioritized by your subconscious brain, because that's basic. Well, that's the other book that I got, right? It's all about the theories of what brought us to where we are today. And I'm feeling a little weird today. It's really cold out and it is raining like crazy. And I'm sitting in my car doing a video. So it just feels a little weird and I'm a little bit goofy. I also just had a little coffee drink. So, my friends know, give me a little caffeine and I start going a little bit loopy. I'm fun. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I love the Sailboat Exercise, and I learned that Sailboat Exercise after watching this from AJ and Smart. AJ and Smart, if you look them up, are a design company. I believe they're based in Germany, and they used the Jake Knapp's book Sprint as a guideline in how they did their discovery process and how they did their their strategy process, so that the people participating, the companies, the coaches, all the people that are paying them to do design, to do marketing with them, this sprint process actually helped them make decisions, move forward faster. And that's sort of the process that I've borrowed for my own process. And that's that part of this: write stuff down. You don't need to talk about it. You don't need to think about it too hard. Just write it down. And then after you've written it down, then we can move on to the next steps. And the next step in this is the sailboat exercise. And the sailboat exercise looks like this. Take all of those beliefs that you just wrote down, and we're going to categorize them in 3 ways. The first way is, this is a belief that is moving me forward. So this would be like the wind in the sails. This carries the sailboat forward. It draws it forward. It inspires you to do what you do. This is part of your passion. This is part of your joy. It lights up your life. And that's how I want you to think about it. It lights up my life. It is joyful. It brings joy. Because that's the sort of thing that we want more of. That's the sort of thing that we want to try and bring to our customers, our audience, everybody like that. We want to make them laugh. We want to make them feel good inside, because that kind of energy draws people together. The next bundle is, this keeps me afloat. So we've got the sail, and we've got the sailboat itself. So these beliefs keep me afloat. And that might be something like, I believe that I have to have a job. There's nothing wrong with that belief, but it's not always right. Because if you are working for yourself, is it a job? Is it a career? Is it a choice? Now, everything that you are doing, if you look at it this way, is your choice. So a belief of I have to have a job is not necessarily true. I choose to have a job, or I choose to work for myself because I believe in myself. And then the next beliefs I want you to find, if you haven't reframed them, I want you to find the ones that are holding you back. And you can identify these any which way. But beliefs that hold you back might be, I believe that I need a Starbucks coffee drink every single day. If you believe that you need to spend $7 to $10 on a coffee drink every single day, I hope that you're bringing in enough clients and things to pay for that. But that might be a belief that, if you look at it, I don't know, maybe you see that belief as something that fills your sails and carries you forward. That could also be a belief, if you look at it, that weighs your boat back. It'd be like an anchor thrown over the side of the boat just to slow it down in the water. And when you're trying to get going on your business, you don't want to slow it down. You don't want to, you need to bring in money, right? You want to talk to people and bring in money and all that. Honestly, there's a lot of people that believe as soon as they launch a business that they need to get a website up, that they need to make business cards, that they need to get out and start like building funnels and doing all those things. And honestly, that's sort of an anchor. That's a belief that is based in being bigger than you are too soon, right? The first thing you need when you start your business is to tell people about yourself, about what you do, and start answering their questions in some ways, so that you, and here's why. In the first several months that you're getting going, 2-3 months, it's all about cash flow. You need to be talking to people and helping them get to know you, so that they feel comfortable working with you and speaking with you and sharing with you, because it's always sharing, right? It's always sharing my feelings and your feelings, because we don't see the world the same way. And people need to know that they can rely on you to just hold the space and listen, and not prematurely keep trying to solve the problems. And that's a lot of problems these days. We jump in and we're like, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's jump into hypnosis. Let's jump into a session. Let's jump into a discovery. Let's jump into strategy. But a lot of times, somebody's car is love it. A lot of times we just need to listen a little bit more. So, I don't know if you guys can hear that. That car is like crazy loud. So when you get the beliefs written down and you take time and then you kind of rank them in this sailboat way. And I love the sailboat because I love the image of the sailboat. My dad's a sea captain. He had sailboats. We worked on sailboats. I helped him build a couple sailboats growing up. Just replacing the insides. And he always loved sailing. I grew up sailing, so I love this idea of the sailboat. What are the beliefs that you have about your life, about your career, relationships, community, children, the economy, everything in your life? Really, just walk through your life and say, okay, I believe brushing my teeth is a good thing. Hey, I believe that walking the dog in the morning is a smart thing, because if I don't, he will go on the rug, and that would be bad. So there's a lot of beliefs that we set up, that we learn, that we can put into the filling the sails. It's the air that lifts us up, the wind beneath my wings. It's that sort of thing. And then there's some that just keep us afloat. I believe I have to vacuum twice a week just because my house gets dirty. Nobody else cares about that, but I do. It matters to me. My 2 cats, I think it matters to them. And then the beliefs that hold you back. And now here's the part that's exciting. All of these things, when they are coming from your subconscious or coming from ingrained training kind of goes the same way. When you do it enough times, it gets put back in the back of your brain. It gets kind of stored back there in the limbic system. And this is what makes me feel comfortable. This is what makes me feel safe. This feels familiar to me. I don't want to change it. That's the problem with us as humans. We get comfortable. We get safe, and then we don't want to change. When we examine beliefs like this, when we start to understand the different aspects of our life and how we're interacting with our own life, we become empowered. And there is tremendous opportunity to find the statements. I believe that life is tremendous for all of us, that it's a great opportunity. Great. That one moves us forward. Let's throw that in the sail. I believe that people are inherently... I'm trying to change my mindset, and say something bad. I believe that people are inherently bad. Well, that would be holding you back, because if you actually believe that, it's going to be harder to make connections with people, and harder to get the sale, and harder to help people, really. And what's the reason why? The reason why is that the reticular activating system, which is sort of like a sub-program in our brain, the reticular activating system is a little mirror, let's say. So when we come up with an idea like this, a belief like this, what happens is the reticular activating system takes in all of the senses, all of the things we're seeing and experiencing, and it's like a mirror. Every time every second, you are absorbing about 40,000 different sensory inputs. The brain recognizes out of those 40,000, about 60 to 80. And the reticular activating system is the filter that tells you what's important and what to pay attention to. When you discover that you have a belief, something like, I believe the world is an angry, awful place, or you focus on negativity, what happens is the reticular activating system shifts the focus of this mirror, and it starts to focus in on those negative people, on negative aspects. So what we're looking for in this exercise, the belief sailboat, is we are looking for the things that we can see as anchors, and then reframe that statement in a more positive way. We will take that statement and say, instead of, we just want to change it so it's not detrimental to us, so our brain can actually see more positive light. And so the reticular activating system, the RAS, can actually focus on a more positive aspect in the world. And what this does over time is trains the brain to keep that focus on a more positive light. So instead of saying, I believe that most people are angry and upset, a more neutral reaction, perhaps we don't have to go full positive, we can go neutral and say, I believe that everybody experiences life in different ways, and there are moments of happiness and sadness and anger, and if that is a space that someone is in, there's probably a good reason for it, and they need the space to feel it, move through it, whatever the choices they are going to make based on the beliefs that they have grown through. And this is really challenging for a lot of people, because what we believe to be true, we think everybody else has the same beliefs. We think that everybody else has the same feelings towards things. And then that brings up judgment, desire suffering. I judge that that's wrong for them, and then I desire for them to change. That's my ego taking charge because I desire something outside of myself that I have no control over. And then I suffer internally because I can't impose my will on somebody outside myself. These are classic Buddhist tenets, Zen tenets, right? There's a flow to life. So what we're trying to do actually by going through this exercise, which by the way is like step 5 or 6 on the manifest design process that I'm helping people with. If you want to know more about my branding process, manifest design, just comment in the notes, manifest design, and I will message you and we'll connect and figure out if the program is right for you. But what we're doing is we're actually seeing, by writing it down, by getting it out of our brains, we're seeing our beliefs about a subject or all subjects, however we choose to focus, and then we are actively using our conscious mind to shift those or prioritize them or put them in a way that the reticular activating system, that little mirror, can focus on the more positive aspects of it for our life. And that makes a huge difference in how we present ourselves and how we share things, going outwards, going towards people, community, all that kind of stuff. So this is a really nice, subtle way to start reprogramming your mind. And what happens, the energy you put into those thoughts, the more energy you focus on a thing, a thought, a process, a purpose, the more energy is drawn towards that thing. This is sort of law of attraction stuff. So when you are focusing more on positive, you are putting more positivity into the world. When your reticular activating system is focused, that mirror is focused more on positivity, then you're going to notice positivity more in other people. If you are seeing negativity in other people, if you are seeing negativity in the world, that means there's a little focus factor gone wrong so that you have a concentration towards the negativity. This is the sort of thing that helps move away from that. You need to play these games with your mind to say, okay, if I'm seeing the negative side of that, what does the positive side look like? And this trains the mind to go more positive. And as you train the mind to go more positive, the reticular activating system notices the positive things in life, notices the positive things in other people, and actually starts drawing them in because you can be more active, more drawn toward, more receptive to all the positivity. And that builds on itself. It's like compound interest. It builds on itself. So that is the belief sailboat game. It is just this fun little word game for you to figure out some beliefs and rank them in this way to see which ones are really being beneficial to you. And if they are not being beneficial to you, I invite you to take a few moments, reframe them, and choose a different direction or neutralize them. If you can't turn them positive, neutralize them, because it's a great opportunity to shift yourself, choose to shift yourself in a positive way. And when you do this, we're going to go right back to the thing I said at the beginning of the video, the theta frequencies. Just before you go to sleep, make a list of the positive ones that fill your sails, make a list of the things that are neutral, and make statements out of them. I believe because, and then make a full statement out of it. This becomes part of your story, your brand story, your life story, the thing that you tell yourself, the things that you believe. This builds into values about when you grow your business. What does a value sound like to you? What is important to you as you build your business? All of them are built around these beliefs, because beliefs change the actions that you take, and the actions over time become behaviors and personality. And people respond to your personality because that becomes the brand to them. Right? So by changing, by honing and controlling and choosing your beliefs, by spending time on more positivity, you take actions that are more positive. You draw people towards you that are more positive. Eventually your personality changes, so you're more positive. You're wild, you're crazy, you're fun, you're awesome, and everybody wants to spend time with you. And at that point, that's how you get to be known. And that would be your brand. Your brand is the feelings that your customers, your friends, your community have towards you. So that's tying everything all right back together. Oh, and make this list. read it just before bedtime, read it right when you wake up, because then it's using the theta brainwave frequencies, those that are closest to the state of hypnosis, that are open and allow a signal to go through to your subconscious mind more easily. And you can reaffirm just all the good stuff happening in your life, because you're worth it. And stuff right now out in the world, it kind of feels wishy-washy. And if you have the security and the stability and the foundation of yourself and your life and everything that you're doing, then, it doesn't really, the rest of it really doesn't matter. And you can hold to yourself and understand that you and your story are perfectly empowered and amazing. And it's worth it. So one more time, this is about step 5 or 6 in the manifest design process, beliefs and values. This is a quick game for you to kind of, if you're just watching this stuff and trying to build your own brand, this is a good way to know a little bit more about who you are, and a trick to help you kind of help your mindset in a more positive way, so you draw more of the people you want to be working with, more of the customers that we've talked about, the ideal customers, draw them into your life. And this is just, it's using all the tricks of the brain. The brain is this great little machine, the inputs and outputs. If we learn how to work with it a little bit more and train it to see the reality that we choose to see, it's a powerful thing. And really, once you get all of this stuff lined up, this is what manifest design is all about, is getting all of the stuff with your brand, your message, your words, your pictures, your mind, getting it all lined up. Because I believe that when the words are lined up with the pictures and the message and your customers, and the reticular activating system is trained, and you're feeling good about yourself, the law of attraction kicks in 110%, because you influence the world around you on a vastly different scale, a powerfully different scale. So if you're interested in manifest design, comment manifest design down below. If you have questions, comments, please share out to anybody who might need this sort of content, that, if there's anybody that because we're trying to make a difference in the world. We're trying to make an impact in the world, and you are part of that. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.